Welcome back to the Coin Studio. And before you look away, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at the coins in your pocket? Because today, we're revealing 5 ordinary Australian $2 coins that most people spend without a second thought, yet in rare condition have shocked collectors, with prices climbing into the tens of thousands of dollars. Somewhere out there, one of these coins could be sitting in a jar on your shelf, in a wallet you haven't opened in years, or even in your change from this morning, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes these modern coins turn into serious treasure. Let's get started. First up, the 2013 Australian $2 coin doesn't look like something that should belong in the spotlight of high-end auctions. It's small, lightweight, and still turns up in everyday transactions. Yet in its rarest and most remarkable form, this humble piece of change has captured the attention of collectors worldwide and has reached market values soaring as high as $28,000. To understand why, you have to step into the world of Australian coinage, where design, innovation, and precision come together in ways that often go unnoticed by the public. The standard Australian $2 coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth. Tui on the obverse, a design that connects modern Australia to a centuries-old tradition of monarchy and Commonwealth history. On the reverse, the coin carries an image of an Aboriginal elder, a powerful symbol of the deep cultural roots that stretch back tens of thousands of years. This blend of ancient heritage and modern nationhood gives the coin a meaning that goes far beyond its face value. In 2013, the Royal Australian Mint struck these coins for circulation, and millions of them flowed into the hands of commuters, students, and shopkeepers. They jingled in pockets, slid across counters, and disappeared into cash registers. Most of them lived rough, ordinary lives. But within that enormous production run, a tiny number of coins emerged with characteristics that transformed them into modern rarities. These are the pieces that never quite fit the mold, the ones that caught the eye of specialists, because something about them was different, sharper, more precise, or simply more extraordinary than the rest. One of the most fascinating aspects of this coin story is how modern minting technology can still produce dramatic variations. Even in an age of computer-controlled presses and advanced quality control, small differences in alignment, striking pressure, and surface finish can create coins that stand out from the crowd. When a 2013 $2 coin appears with exceptional clarity in the design, perfectly centered elements, and a surface that glows with untouched luster, collectors take notice. And when a coin displays a rare production, characteristic or error that can be verified and certified, it can move from curiosity to headline-grabbing collectible almost overnight. Imagine holding one of these standout examples in your hand. The golden outer ring catches the light first, glowing warmly against the silvery center. The portrait of the Queen appears crisp and dignified, every detail of the hair and crown lines sharply defined. Flip the coin over, and the Aboriginal elder's face emerges with remarkable depth and texture, the lines of the design appearing almost sculpted rather than stamped. The surfaces are clean and reflective, free from the tiny nicks and scratches that usually plague coins that have been in circulation. There's a sense of precision and presence that tells you this coin is something special before you ever read a grading label. High-grade examples of modern coins are notoriously difficult to find. Because they're often dismissed as too new to matter, they're rarely stored with the care that older, silver or gold coins receive. That's why a 2013 $2 coin that survives in flawless, mint state condition is already a rarity. Add to that a verified production anomaly or a particularly stunning strike, and you have the recipe for a coin that can climb into the realm of serious money. When one of these elite specimens appears in the market, the response can be electric. Collectors of Australian decimal coinage, error coin specialists, and modern rarity hunters all converge. They study high-resolution images, compare certification details, and weigh the opportunity to secure a piece that might never appear again. This competitive atmosphere is what drives prices upward, sometimes dramatically, as each bidder recognizes that they're not just buying a coin, they're claiming a moment in the evolving story of modern numismatics. What makes this coin's journey even more exciting is how close it remains to everyday life. Unlike ancient or medieval coins locked away in museums, the 2013 Australian $2 coin still circulates. That means there are jars of spare change, old wallets, and inherited collections where an extraordinary example could be hiding. The idea that a coin worth $28,000 might be sitting unnoticed in a drawer is the kind of possibility that turns casual curiosity into a full-blown treasure hunt. Picture the moment of discovery. You're sorting through a pile of coins, not expecting anything more than face value, and one piece stands out. The alignment looks perfect. The surfaces are unusually clean. The colors seem richer, more vibrant. You send it in for professional evaluation, and when it comes back certified as a top-tier example or a recognized rarity, the story of that coin and your connection to it changes forever. The 2013 Australian $2 coin represents the modern age of collecting in its purest form. It's about paying attention, understanding quality, and recognizing that even in a world of mass production, true rarity can still exist. It reminds us that value isn't always buried in the distant past. Sometimes it's minted in our own lifetime, passed from hand to hand, waiting for someone to see it for what it really is. So the next time you hear the clink of a $2 coin on a countertop, don't just think of what it can buy. Think of the stories it carries, the history it reflects, and the possibility that one small, everyday object could hold a place in the high-stakes world of collectors and auctions. Because in the world of modern coins, the greatest treasures are often the ones hiding in plain sight. If this story sparked your curiosity, make sure you like the video, follow the Coin Studio, and subscribe for more deep dives into the coins that transform ordinary change into extraordinary discoveries. The next remarkable find could already be in your pocket. You just have to know how to look. Next up, the 2009 Australian $2 coin doesn't come wrapped in ancient legends or precious metal mystique. It's a piece of everyday change that most people barely notice as it moves from hand to hand. Yet in its rarest and most remarkable form, this modest coin has captured the attention of collectors and auction houses alike, with values reaching as high as $16,000. To truly appreciate what makes this coin special, you have to understand the moment in which it was born. The late 2000s were a time of rapid change in how people used money. Digital payments were growing, but cash was still king in daily life. The Royal Australian Mint was producing coins in enormous numbers to keep up with circulation needs, and the $2 coin, with its distinctive golden ring and silver center, had already become one of the most recognizable pieces in Australian pockets. It was practical, durable, and designed to last, but not necessarily designed to be collected. The standard design tells a story that blends modern Australia with ancient heritage. On the obverse, the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth. He reflects the nation's connection to the Commonwealth and a long tradition of monarchic imagery. On the reverse, the Aboriginal elder stands as a symbol of Australia's deep cultural roots, representing a history that stretches back tens of thousands of years. This contrast between contemporary nationhood and ancient identity gives the coin a quiet power that often goes unnoticed in everyday transactions. In 2009, millions of these coins were released into circulation. They were dropped into tip jars, stacked in vending machines, and rattled around in pockets and purses. Most quickly picked up scratches, marks, and where that erased any chance of becoming special. But within that sea of ordinary coins, a tiny number emerged that followed a different path. Some were set aside, straight from the mint. Others were preserved in rolls or collections without their owners realizing what they might one day become. These survivors are the foundation of the coin's high-end collecting story. What makes a top-tier 2009 $2 coin stand out is the combination of precision and preservation. Under proper lighting, the golden outer ring glows with a rich, warm tone while the silver center reflects light like polished steel. The Queen's portrait appears sharp and dignified, with clear lines in the hair and crown. On the reverse, the Aboriginal elder's features show strong contrast and depth, with clean, well-defined lines that look almost sculptural. The surfaces are free of the tiny nicks and scuffs that usually mark coins that have seen even brief circulation. Collectors who specialize in modern Australian decimal coinage know just how difficult it is to find examples like this. High-grade modern coins are often rarer than much older pieces because people don't think to protect them. That's why when a 2009 $2 coin appears in certified mint state condition, especially one with exceptional strike quality or a recognized production variation, it becomes an object of serious interest. The market reaction to these standout examples can be intense. When one surfaces at auction or through a private sale, collectors compare certification details, study photographs, and weigh the opportunity to add a modern rarity to their collections. Competition can drive prices upward quickly, especially if the coin is recognized as one of the finest known examples or displays a notable production anomaly. This dynamic is what has pushed some 2009 $2 coins into the spotlight, with prices climbing toward that impressive $16,000 mark. What adds a layer of excitement to this story is the idea of accessibility. Unlike ancient coins sealed in museum cases, this one still lives in the real world. It could be sitting in a jar of spare change, tucked into an old wallet, or hidden in a forgotten drawer. The possibility that an extraordinary example might be just a few steps away from discovery turns everyday routines into potential treasure hunts. Imagine sorting through a handful of coins on a quiet evening and noticing one that seems different. The colors are brighter, the details are sharper, the surfaces are cleaner than anything else in the pile. You send it for professional grading, not knowing what to expect. And when it comes back labeled as a top-tier specimen or a recognized rarity, you realize you've uncovered something far beyond ordinary change. That moment of transformation from casual curiosity to certified collectible is what draws so many people into the world of modern coin collecting. The 2009 Australian $2 coin represents a shift in how we think about value and rarity. It shows that you don't have to look centuries into the past to find something extraordinary. Sometimes, the most exciting treasures are minted in our own lifetime, quietly circulating through everyday life, waiting for someone to recognize their potential. Next up, the 2002 Australian $2 coin is one of those quiet storytellers. It doesn't glitter with gold, and it isn't ancient or medieval, yet in its rarest and most extraordinary form, this modern piece of change has reached values, climbing toward an astonishing $14,500. At first glance, the 2002 $2 coin feels familiar. The bimetallic design, with its warm golden ring and cool silver center, is instantly recognizable to anyone who's spent time in Australia. On the obverse, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II reflects continuity, tradition, and a link to centuries of history. On the reverse, the Aboriginal elder stands as a powerful symbol of Australia's deep cultural heritage, representing a story that stretches back tens of thousands of years. This contrast between ancient identity and modern nationhood is quietly embedded into a coin that most people treat as nothing more than spare change. In 2002, the Royal Australian Mint produced these coins in massive numbers to meet the demands of everyday circulation. They passed through supermarkets, cafes, public transport machines, and school canteens. They were dropped on counters, scooped into tills, and stacked in pockets alongside keys and receipts. Almost all of them quickly picked up the marks of daily life. Tiny scratches, dull patches, and worn edges that erased any hint of their original brilliance. That's why the story of the few that survived untouched is so compelling. Somewhere along the way, a small number of these coins avoided that fate. They were set aside in mint rolls, preserved in collections, or tucked away in drawers and forgotten. These are the pieces that now stand out to collectors. Not because of age or precious metal content, but because of something far rarer in the modern world: true perfection. Imagine holding one of these top-tier examples under a strong light. The golden outer ring glows with a rich, even tone, free from spots or discoloration. The silver center reflects light smoothly, almost like polished steel. The Queen's portrait is crisp and dignified, every line in the hair and crown clearly defined. Turn the coin over, and the Aboriginal elder's features appear bold and sculpted, with clean edges and strong contrast between raised design and background. The surfaces are so clean and smooth that it feels as though the coin has just left the mint, untouched by time or handling. Modern minting is fast and efficient, but that speed comes at a cost. Coins are struck, counted, and moved in bulk, often bumping into each other before they ever reach circulation. Even coins that are technically uncirculated can show tiny marks from this process. That's why a 2002 $2 coin that achieves a top-grade certification is such a standout. It means the coin not only avoided circulation, but also survived the entire production and distribution process without losing its original beauty. Collectors who focus on modern Australian decimal coins understand just how difficult this is. They study grading reports, compare population numbers, and track which examples sit at the top of the quality scale. When a 2002 $2 coin appears that ranks among the finest known, it immediately becomes a focal point. It's no longer just a coin, it's a benchmark, a reference piece that defines what perfection looks like for that year and type. This is where the market energy comes alive. When one of these elite specimens enters an auction or a high-profile sale, collectors step in with confidence and determination. They know that opportunities to secure a top population modern coin are rare, and they know that once it's in someone else's collection, it may not reappear for years or even decades. That sense of scarcity, combined with the growing interest in modern rarities, is what drives prices into the five-figure range. There's also the element of visual personality. Some of the most desirable examples show subtle, natural toning along the edges of the golden ring or faint color shifts in the silver center. These gentle hues don't distract from the design. They enhance it, adding depth and character. In the eyes of collectors, this kind of eye appeal can elevate a technically perfect coin into something truly memorable. What makes the 2002 $2 coin especially exciting is how close it still feels. This isn't a relic from a distant century. It's a coin that many people remember using, a piece of money that might still be sitting in a jar, on a shelf or in a forgotten wallet. The idea that something so ordinary could hold extraordinary value is what fuels the modern treasure hunt. Picture yourself sorting through a handful of coins late in the evening. Most of them blurred together, worn and dull. Then one catches your eye. The colors are brighter, the details are sharper, the surfaces look untouched. You decide to have it professionally evaluated, and when it returns certified as one of the finest examples known, that small moment of curiosity turns into a life-changing discovery. The 2002 Australian $2 coin tells a powerful story about the nature of modern collecting. It shows that rarity isn't always about being old. Sometimes it's about being preserved. It's about surviving a world of mass production and everyday use without losing the qualities that make a coin truly special. Next up, the 2001 Australian $2 coin is one of those details. It looks simple, familiar, and unremarkable at first glance. Yet in its rarest and most exceptional form, this modern piece of change has surprised collectors and auction houses alike with values reaching as high as $12,500. The $2 coin had already become a symbol of modern Australian currency by the early 2000s. Its distinctive bimetallic design, with a warm golden outer ring and a cool silver center, made it instantly recognizable in pockets and purses. On the obverse, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II reflects continuity and tradition, connecting contemporary Australia to centuries of history across the Commonwealth. On the reverse, the Aboriginal elder stands as a powerful representation of the nation's deep cultural roots, a reminder that the story of this land stretches back far beyond written records. In 2001, the Royal Australian Mint produced these coins in large numbers to meet everyday demand. They flowed through supermarkets, cafes, buses, and school canteens, becoming part of the rhythm of daily life. Most of them quickly lost their original brilliance. The golden ring dulled, the silver center picked up scratches, and the crisp edges softened from constant handling. That's the normal fate of circulating coinage, and it's exactly what makes the survival of a pristine example so remarkable. Somewhere along the way, a small number of these coins took a different path. They were saved in mint rolls, tucked into collections, or set aside without anyone realizing what they might one day represent. These survivors are the ones that now draw the attention of modern coin specialists. Because finding a 2001 $2 coin in truly flawless, mint state condition is far more difficult than most people imagine. Imagine holding one of these elite examples under a bright light. The golden ring glows evenly, without spots or discoloration, and the silver center reflects light in smooth, clean waves. The Queen's portrait appears crisp and dignified, every line of hair and crown detail clearly defined. Turn the coin over, and the Aboriginal elder's features stand out with depth and clarity, the design looking almost sculpted rather than stamped. The surfaces are free from the tiny marks and scuffs that usually appear even on coins that have barely been used. Modern minting is fast and efficient, but that speed creates its own challenges. Coins are struck, counted, and transported in bulk, often brushing against each other before they ever reach circulation. This means that even coins that are technically uncirculated can show small imperfections from the very moment they leave the press. That's why a 2001 $2 coin that achieves a top-tier grade is such a standout. It's a coin that not only avoided years of use, but also survived the production process itself without losing its original perfection. Collectors who focus on modern Australian decimal coinage understand how rare this combination of quality and preservation really is. They track population reports, study strike characteristics, and look for examples that sit at the very top of the grading scale. When a 2001 $2 coin appears that ranks among the finest known, it becomes a reference point, a benchmark that defines what the best of the best looks like for that year. This is where the excitement builds in the marketplace. When one of these exceptional specimens enters an auction or a high-profile private sale, interest can be intense. Collectors recognize that they may be looking at a once-in-a-generation opportunity to secure a modern rarity. Competition pushes bids higher, not because of the coin's face value, but because of its story, its survival, its quality, and its place in the evolving narrative of modern numismatics. What makes this coin's story especially captivating is how close it still feels to everyday life. This isn't an ancient artifact or a relic from a distant era. It's a coin many people remember using, a piece of money that could still be hiding in a jar on a shelf or in the back of a drawer. The idea that something so familiar could hold such extraordinary potential is what turns casual curiosity into a full-scale treasure hunt. Picture yourself sorting through spare change on a quiet evening. Most of the coins blur together, worn and ordinary. Then one stands out. The colors are brighter, the details are sharper, the surfaces look untouched. You decide to have it professionally evaluated, and when it comes back certified as one of the finest examples known, that small moment of attention transforms into a discovery you'll never forget. The 2001 Australian $2 coin tells a powerful story about modern rarity. It shows that value isn't always rooted in age or precious metal content. Sometimes it's rooted in preservation, in being the one piece that escaped the wear and tear of everyday life. It's about perfection surviving in a world of mass production. Next up, the 1999 Australian $2 coin carries that sense of transition in a way that few pieces of everyday money ever do. It's a coin that looks ordinary in the palm of your hand, yet in its rarest and most exceptional form, it has captured the attention of collectors with market values climbing toward an astonishing $23,000. By the late 1990s, the $2 coin had already cemented itself as a familiar part of Australian life. Its distinctive bimetallic design made it easy to spot among other change, and its durability meant it could survive years of circulation. The Royal Australian Mint was producing these coins in large numbers to keep pace with daily demand, and most of them were destined for a well-worn life in pockets. Tills and coin trays, they were used, dropped, stacked, and forgotten, losing their original brilliance along the way. But the story of the 1999 $2 coin takes a dramatic turn when you focus on the few that escaped that fate. Some were set aside straight from the mint, preserved in rolls, or saved by people who simply liked the look of a fresh, new coin. These survivors form a tiny group, and they are the foundation of the coin's reputation in the high-end collecting world. The design itself tells a powerful story. On the obverse, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II connects modern Australia to a long tradition of monarchy and Commonwealth history. On the reverse, the Aboriginal elder stands as a symbol of Australia's ancient cultural roots, representing a heritage that stretches back tens of thousands of years. This pairing of continuity and deep history gives the coin a quiet depth that often goes unnoticed when it's used for everyday purchases. Now imagine holding one of the elite 1999 examples under a bright light. The golden outer ring shines with a rich, even tone, and the silver center reflects light smoothly, like polished metal. The Queen's portrait appears crisp and composed, every line in the hair and crown clearly defined. Flip the coin over and the Aboriginal elder's features emerge with striking clarity, the design lines sharp and well separated from the background. The surfaces are clean and reflective, free from the tiny marks and scuffs that almost always appear on coins that have spent even a short time in circulation. What makes this level of quality so rare is not just the passage of time, but the nature of modern minting. Coins are struck in massive quantities and moved in bulk, often brushing against each other before they ever reach the public. That means even coins that were never spent can still show small imperfections. A 1929 $2 coin that survives this process and remains nearly flawless is already a standout. When such a coin is certified by a professional grading service and recognized as one of the finest known, it becomes a centerpiece for modern collectors. The market response to these elite pieces can be dramatic. When one appears in an auction or high-profile sale, collectors who specialize in Australian decimal coinage pay close attention. They compare certification details, study population data, and consider how rarely an opportunity like this comes along. Competition can push prices upward quickly, not because of the coin's age or metal content, but because of its rarity in perfect condition and its status as a benchmark example. There's also a layer of emotional appeal tied to the year itself. 1999 carries a sense of nostalgia and anticipation, the final chapter of a century and a millennium. For some collectors, owning a top-tier coin from that year isn't just about quality. It's about capturing a moment in time, a small, tangible link to a world on the brink of change. What makes this story especially exciting is the idea that discovery is still possible. These coins are not locked away in ancient hoards. They're modern pieces that could still be sitting in jars of spare change, tucked into old wallets or hidden in forgotten drawers. The possibility that a coin worth tens of feet to thousands of dollars could be hiding in plain sight turns every day. Routines into opportunities for adventure. Picture the moment you notice one that looks different. The colors are brighter, the details are sharper, the surfaces seem untouched. You decide to have it professionally evaluated, and when it comes back certified as one of the finest examples known, the coin's identity changes. It's no longer just a piece of change. It's a recognized rarity, a collectible with a story, and a connection to a pivotal year in modern history. The 1999 Australian $2 coin shows us that value doesn't always come from ancient origins or precious metals. Sometimes it comes from survival, from being the one piece that remained perfect while millions of others were worn away by daily life. It's a reminder that modern coins can carry extraordinary stories if you're willing to look closely enough. So the next time you hear the soft clink of a $2 coin hitting a countertop, pause for a moment, let the light catch the golden ring and silver center. Look at the designs, the tiny details, and the condition that separates the ordinary from the exceptional. Because in the world of modern collecting, the greatest treasures are often the ones we almost overlook. If this exploration into Australia's modern coin legends sparked your curiosity, make sure you like the video, follow the Coin Studio, and subscribe for more deep dives into the coins that turn every day money into extraordinary stories. Your next remarkable discovery could already be closer than you think, possibly right there in your pocket, waiting for you to notice it.